Celtics win 97-84. This is the Garter Report on Celticsblog and CLNS Radio. Welcome to the Garter Report. My name is Jared Weiss. I'm catching Evans' shirt right there. His name is Evans Clinchy.
What's up?
On the other end of the table, Brendan Jackson from CelticsHub, ESPN True Hoop affiliate. We're going to go over how the Celtics look without now two of their most important players, Rondo obviously being probably the most important.
Arguably.
I think Kevin Garnett's a pretty good argument there.
Yeah,
and Jared Sullinger, their most exciting and promising of their young stars. He's out for the season. I guess I shouldn't say stars yet. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But he's out for the
ourselves.
season with back spasms leading to back surgery today. We're going to talk about how they looked with Sullinger not in the lineup anymore, how Brandon Bass did filling in for him, and how Jeff Green and Paul Pierce did filling in this new small ball lineup, which isn't new because we were supposed to be talking about this the entire season. So we'll talk about that too. We'll hear from Doc. We'll hear from Kevin. KG is known for, I think, not swearing on television.
Yeah, totally. Not swearing. That's his thing.
We'll show you him not swearing on television
yeah.
again because he had a couple good little S-word bombs tonight.
Not S-word.
Can you say S-bombs to B-Jax?
I'll allow it.
Okay.
I won't, but
Okay.
whatever.
Well, yeah, B-Jax ruled. He has the beard. Or actually, you both have beards, but his is thicker, so I think he has more.
Redder.
Yeah,
Very, very red.
It is
for
redder,
sure.
so he has more legal precedence over you.
I can't deny it.
We're going to talk about Jeff Green going to the hole, which was fun tonight. That sounded pretty bad. He was dunking the ball. That's what
He was slam dunking.
Yeah.
That happened.
And then we're going to box
Multiple
out,
times.
and then we're going to ball up, as we always do on
Ball
the show.
up?
Ball up.
Okay.
It's our Baller of the Night segment. I don't know if you've heard of it.
I don't
You
know. I don't
participated
watch the
in it about
show.
20
You
times.
Very.
All right, this is a different Evans Clinchy. He looks exactly
My
the
twin
same.
brother. Okay, whatever.
Okay, so let's start with not having Jared Sullinger, B-Jax. Brandon Bass kind of trying to fill in that role, and it's his role to start with that Sullinger took from him again. But yeah, how did Bass look tonight, and how does this team look missing probably their most, definitely their most efficient rebounder?
Well, I think the first thing to say is that they're two completely different players. They play the same position and they play the same, role on the team, but Bass can't rebound like Sullinger, and Sullinger has yet to prove that he can shoot as well as Bass can. And over the last two games, you've seen Brandon Bass really step it up. He's making that, mid-range jump shot again, and he's playing hard. A lot of times earlier in the season, you'd see perhaps maybe a lack of focus. It's hard to pinpoint why he was messing up, on the defensive end, rotations and things like that. But he's really putting in the effort, and it looks like he's stepping up now that he has that chance again.
I think Brandon's kind of had trouble this year figuring out where to assert himself. So I think last year he had a more consistent and concrete role. We've talked about it. We've kind of heard about it from him. I think that this role has gotten to him. I think was it Chris Forsberg he told last week that the lack of consistency in his role has really frustrated him. And now he finally has a chance to have a consistent role. It'll be like last year when they're not playing small ball. He's probably going to be the starting power forward for most of those games. And he's going to have his chance to run his pick and pop sets to be able to try to get stuff done on the offensive glass. Evans, do you think that Brandon has shown, I guess in the past few games, that he's going to be able to get back to his form that we were used to seeing from him really early this year and last year?
Yeah, I think so. I think tonight was a very encouraging game for him. I mean, he got yanked out of the starting lineup 2 games ago for Jared Sullinger, and now that Sullinger's out of the picture, Bass has a clearer role. He knows what he's going to be doing each and every night, and he can step up and do it. He had 7 rebounds tonight, which is a very encouraging stat for him. If he's active on the glass, that's really, really helpful for this team. But it's not going to be just Bass. I mean, they're going to get an extra couple of points from Bass, an extra couple from Paul Pierce, an extra couple from Kevin Garnett, Courtney Lee. It's a team effort, and it's not going to be just one guy filling Jared Sullinger's shoes. But Bass has been encouraging. I mean, what we've seen from him these last couple of games has been good. He's got to keep it going.
I also think we're going to see Bass play better because I think earlier in the season, maybe after training camp, he really heard footsteps. He saw Sullinger play, he played against him, and he said, wow, this kid can ball.
Yeah.
And so I think, I'm sure he was even told, you need to keep up. This isn't, this is your spot now, but it's not your spot guaranteed. And now I think he's going to feel a lot more confident, a lot more comfortable knowing that, Jason Collins is unlikely to usurp that role.
Fat Mello.
Yeah,
probably
not
not.
after tonight.
Oh man, let's do our what should be our nightly Fat Mello update. He got his first minutes in a long time. and they were pretty horrific minutes.
First minutes of all time.
Was it?
This was his
okay.
NBA debut.
Not including preseason.
Yeah, I guess that's why. Yeah.
Evans and I had a little debate about that.
Yeah, I could have sworn he played in November. I was wrong.
That's what I was thinking.
These were
I
his
thought he
first
got
minutes.
a couple minutes because I remember Chris Joseph.
Preseason.
It's amazing to think Chris Joseph isn't even on this team anymore.
That's right.
You know,
That's
we were
very sad,
talking
isn't
about
it?
his promise as a replacement for Petrus
Right.
a few months ago, but Melo literally got spun in circles a few times trying to defend the low post.
Kyle Quinn
his
made him.
his rotating on his own man, not rotating in the team defense.
He didn't have shorts that fit him. He was trying to pull up his pants the whole time, so he couldn't contest a shot. He had
I
both
feel
hands on his waist. That's the main problem here. That's what I'm saying. Whatever.
I think they weren't tied. Like I think it's like one of those rookie moments where you take off your warm up shirt, your shooting shirt, and your jersey's on backwards or it's not on at all. I think he got in the game and he didn't tie his shorts, so he's running up the court, realizing that they're falling off, and it's pretty funny to watch.
Rookie mistake.
Fun fact from our producer Lucas Parolin, who's Brazilian himself and definitely likes these kind of facts. Melo and Barbosa playing together. The first time that two Brazilian players have played on an NBA team.
Yeah, really cool. Really
Until
cool.
Varejao and then they all get traded to the Wizards, or they're already on the Wizards. Until all those guys, they're all going to get traded to the Celtics. We'll have an all-Brazilian team. It'll be fun. And then Ginobili there just to kind of muddy the water for them. Argentina and Brazil don't like each other, if you haven't heard. And let's talk about two guys that had a little bit of friction, or kind of slowly have found out trickle throughout the season. Kevin Garnett and Doc Rivers, we don't know if it ever really affected them, but Kevin has made a point to mention how upset he was when Doc Rivers called the team out for being soft earlier in the year. Let's take a look at what Kevin said. If you're scared of bleeps or are scared of lip reading, parental discretion is advised.
We have a lot of fight in us. I've never known this to, although Doc made his bullshit comments about us being soft and shit. We're a team that they will fight. We are a team who are very competitive and we're very prideful. So you learn it. When you lose pieces and you lose certain things about your team, you learn that within each other. You see the fight within each other and just follow that. So more than anything, I think we're just being competitive out here, sharing the basketball and playing.
So Kevin saying that Doc's soft comment was a load of BS and some S, as we told you it would be. I think that's a safe way to say it.
Yeah,
but the point there being that now that all these guys are going down, you're starting to see the fight coming out of some of the guys that haven't had the fight in them so far this year. We're talking about Courtney Lee, Jeff Green. Bass played better even if the box score isn't really showing it. But you're seeing the guys that really haven't been playing very well, B-Jacks, for most of the season. We're seeing some consistency out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see a change in Courtney Lee. And I actually don't think it has anything to do with Rondo being out, aside from the fact that he's getting more minutes and more of a defined role.
It's all about Zach Lowe.
Yeah. My former Celtics hub brethren, Zach Lowe, I think that was just a miscommunication. I don't know what that was personally, but I do know that Courtney Lee is playing much better right now. Yeah. And he's being much more aggressive. And like I said, I don't think it has anything to do with Rondo being out, other than the fact that he's getting more minutes at the point guard position. He's getting more chemistry with Avery Bradley. Before he was being cycled in, starting lineup, playing with Terry, playing with Avery, playing with Rondo, and now it's like they're getting a nice rapport, at least over the last 2 games.
And Avery was supposed to be his replacement before I let you talk. Avery was supposed to be his replacement. Now he's his buddy in crime. Right. And now they're talking about how they're the pit bulls together and all that.
Yeah. No, German Shepherds.
Oh, okay.
German Shepherds.
Okay.
I heard pit bulls.
A little bit more elegant. But it's amazing how that's turned from he never said anything about it, and they seem to get along very well. But it went from basically Avery coming in and taking away Courtney's role to now that they are a duo and they're the great backcourt defensive duo and they can run up and down, all that kind of stuff. So that's turned into a positive there, of course.
Well, I think Lee understands that if Avery Bradley can take over the starting shooting guard role from Ray Allen, he can take it over from Courtney Lee. I think he knew to start that there was no doubt that he was, when Avery was healthy, he was going to come back and be the starter. I think now he's just happy that he's getting a lot of minutes.
Yeah, I suspect a lot more than you do that Rondo's absence is relevant.
Yeah.
I don't know what Courtney said to Zach Lowe's sources and what he didn't. I'm not going to speculate on that. But I do think that this team became a little bit too much identified by Rondo's the guy, and everybody else kind of stands out of the way and watches while he does his thing. And that's not a healthy way for a five-man team to operate. And now that Rondo's out of the picture, it's a team effort. It's collaborative. It's Lee runs the offense one possession, and Bradley runs it the next possession, and they take turns and they share their responsibilities. The ironic thing here is that Courtney Lee's been the one guy saying all along, nobody's role is going to change. Our roles are the same. We all have the same roles. And that's a load of crap. We've seen Courtney Lee's role change dramatically over the last couple of weeks. And it's been a positive thing. He's engaged, he's involved, he's actually helping this team in ways that he wasn't 2 weeks ago. It's a great thing to see. And the more we see of Courtney Lee, really making an impact on the game, it's great for the Celtics, right? I mean, it's...
I'm gonna pull a KG here. Keep it clean though. I'm calling BS on Courtney Lee. I asked him a couple weeks ago before the game, has your role changed in practice? Because he was having a good run. His role was clearly a little bit different on the court. And I asked him, are you being involved in a different role in the sets that you're running in practice? Are you taking on different options on cuts, stuff like that? And he said, oh no, it's been the same the entire time. I looked at him come on, that's... Nobody's gonna buy that. You're running different plays than you used to. You're taking on different roles defensively than you used to. It's clearly not the same role for Courtney. I can't imagine that he was practicing this role exactly for the first couple months of the season, and now he's finally getting to implement it in a game.
Yeah, I don't understand how this athlete cliche came to exist. It's right up there with one game at a time now. Our roles don't change. Our roles don't change. What is this insistence on saying that your roles don't change? What's wrong with your role changing?
Yeah.
Two guys get hurt that are key players on your team. Your role should change. And I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, I think, though, it's not like the Celtics were executing offensively, in the beginning of the season with Rondo. Mm-hmm. So it could be, really, that their roles didn't really change. They're still supposed to be doing the things that they're doing now. They just weren't doing them. And now I understand that when I totally agree with you, when the personnel changes, your role has to adjust. I mean,
sure.
Courtney Lee's handling the ball a lot more because Rondo's not there. It makes sense. But I think, I guess maybe I'm just giving a little bit more credit to them, just saying and maybe it's their interpretation of their role. Their role is, playing hard, being a defensive stopper, trying to crash the ball, gang rebound, getting back on defense, things general principles of the team itself. Those haven't changed at all.
You don't think so? Because I think the general principles for the first 40 games this season were Rajon Rondo is going to stand there for 20 seconds with the ball in his hands. He's going to wait till there's 3 or 4 seconds on the shot clock, and then he's going to make a pass to some guy for a contested long two.
I think that was the reality, but
that's
I don't
changed,
think,
right? I mean, come on.
Well, right, but I think that was the reality, but I don't think that was drawn up on the
I don't care what's drawn up. What you see on the court is what you see on the court, and what you saw for the first 40 games was, not fundamentally great basketball.
Okay, let's go to a really high percentage shot. Jeff Green dunks. He's good
at
throwing.
92% of them.
He's pretty good at throwing the ball inside of the rim. He doesn't show much reaction to it. Let's take a look at what he had to say about that after the game.
What does it do to you when you have a dunk like that?
Nothing.
Come on, it's
2 points. Well, for my team, it's an extra boost of energy. And, you see the way the bench reacts. The crowd was wild. That helps us out. So, it's 2 points at the end of the day. I just try to make a good play. It just happens to be that.
It doesn't get you going, though? It doesn't get you energized?
You see me, I'm, same facial expressions, same demeanor.
You kind of react a little bit afterwards, though.
You just saw me do it. I don't. I don't have any kind of. I don't yell. I leave that to Kevin. I don't. Do the. Antics. The. Chest bump. I did it tonight.
You did do that.
But that's because of Jet. Jet. He wants me to do it. And but my first thought is to get back on defense. I don't want Doc yelling at me.
So Jeff doesn't want Doc yelling at him. We've seen Doc yelling at him on the court a lot so far in the past few weeks. I said this on the postgame show before we filmed this, on the CLNS Radio postgame show. Doc has said a lot of times to the media, a guy shouldn't be worried when he's getting yelled at. He should be worried when he's not getting yelled at, because that's when Doc doesn't care. Doc clearly has, out in public at least, seems to be working with Jeff more than pretty much anybody on this team, B-Jacks. We're seeing the dividends pay off, and now that Jeff's starting to get to run a little bit of point forward and get a little bit of more action where he's, instead of getting the ball in kind of like a perimeter post-up and starting out of the triple threat, he's actually getting the ball while he's moving, coming around screens, and not having to get past that first defender and just try to finish, and that's what he's really good at.
Well, we've seen him. The only times we've seen him be successful, like take someone on one-on-one, is against Michael Beasley and Steve Novak. You know,
who are renowned defenders.
Right.
Renowned,
Guys
yes.
he knows he can just blow by. You know, when he's, the other day against the Kings, he got Jimmer Fredette in a switch and couldn't back him down. It's just like, you're right. He's just so much more comfortable,
It's really bad. Yeah.
moving without the ball, cutting and getting open. Rather, you see him on the perimeter if when he pauses for a second in the triple threat position and then just makes another wing pass. I like him much better in this role, cutting baseline, cutting down the lane when there's a bad switch, and we'll see if that continues. I have a feeling that was more of a product of the Magic's being just completely out of sorts. They're injury riddled. They don't have a ton of their guys. Their rim protectors weren't necessarily there or paying attention tonight. And Jeff Green
Do they have rim protectors?
Baby takes charges. We know that.
Not anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, everybody looks good when they're playing the Kings and the Magic, don't get me wrong. But we've seen a couple of games now where Jeff Green is not just standing there on the perimeter doing nothing. He's asserting himself. He's showing some energy. He's showing some initiative to attack the basket. I mean, this is encouraging, right? If you're paying a guy $9 million, you want him to actually
He
get in there
better
and
dunk
do
the ball a couple times.
He better score points somehow, whether it's a dunk or a mid-range jumper or whatever. I mean, the fact that Jeff Green is taking action and actually trying to step in and fill a little bit of that void left by Sullinger, it's got to be encouraging, right?
Yeah, and I mean, what was big tonight is the whole aspect of the dunk igniting the team and the crowd. It's something that I think probably gets overblown most of the time, but it is exactly. But while I am being ridiculous most of the time,
A little bit.
Jeff did say tonight that when he throws it down, he's not going to show his emotion. He's thinking about getting back on the. But
sure.
He says that the bench reacts and the crowd reacts, and that fuels the team. And that's kind of an obvious thing. It might get overblown as to how big of an effect it'll have on the game. But on a game like this, where there was no energy in the building whatsoever for the first half, even though the Celtics are playing pretty good basketball, there wasn't really any energy. And when he puts those plays out, it takes a game against the Magic on a Friday night after you've lost two of your best players for the season and you're really down into a pretty exciting game. And we saw in the second half, even though there was a lot of space and the lead for the Celtics in the second half, the excitement level by the team and by the crowd and the energy from the team definitely was noticeably better after those big dunks by Green.
Well, what those dunks really do is help the locker room chemistry.
Yeah.
I mean, we heard it. We were standing there, and Courtney Lee and Jeff Green were giving each other, garbage back and forth about whose was better, whose baseline dunk was better, oh, Courtney Lee, I can't believe he got up, can't believe he finally got up. And, we know Courtney Lee is freakishly athletic,
Yeah,
know?
we do.
So, obviously, he probably does it all the time in practice, but everyone was like, why aren't you dunking in the games? It's just, I think it's making it, those kind of things help overall, even out of the context of the game. And while in the game, it's more like it's just 2 points.
It helps that they've won 3 straight games, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to talk like that after a loss, even if they both have monstrous dunks. It's the
Very
winning
true.
that does this.
Very true.
Okay, well, you're hearing numbers. You're going to hear some more numbers. Let's box out. Evans, let's start with you. What's your number for the night?
I almost forgot, but I think my stat of the night is three-point shooting, right?
Yeah, we'll go with it.
The Orlando Magic shot 3 for 19 from three-point range. That is 15.8%. Jameer Nelson was 0 for 3. Mo Harkless was 0 for 2. I mean, a lot of guys were 0 for a lot of things. The Magic were not hitting shots. I mean, when you lose by, 13 points, I mean, generally there's going to be some fluky shooting involved. Tonight it was Orlando just missing threes, and that was a key stat.
And to be fair, Celtics shot 4 for 18. So
Yeah, they were not so
not
good
really
either.
any better. All right.
Yeah, it's true.
B-Jacks, box out with me.
My stat of the night is almost unprecedented. It's 56 points in the paint. For this team to get that many points in the paint is ridiculous.
With Sullinger being out for
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
One of the only low post scorers, right? But they got a ton on wide open layups. I don't think this is something we can look to. We can really say, oh, well, without Rondo, without Sullinger, they're gonna get to the rim more. I think they've been told to get to the rim, and the Magic were all too obliged to, or all too happy to, lead the way, show the way to the rim.
Yeah, let's get a prediction. How many against the Clippers on Sunday?
Yeah.
DeAndre Jordan, Nikola Vukovic, whatever. It was nice.
One can leap a little bit higher.
A little.
And a number that was going a little bit higher than I expected tonight was 30 assists for the Celtics. Rajon Rondo's he's not on the team anymore. Or he's not on the active roster anymore. Yet they're still putting up the assist numbers that they put up in Rondo as good games.
That's interesting.
I mean that was really shocking. They had 5 guys that had 4 or more assists in this game. So the point guard by committee that Doc has been talking about, it really is being backed up by the numbers. I think that really makes a huge difference for this team. Is that this team is actually really embracing the whole diversified role. Everybody's kind of taking on a couple extra roles.
But their roles aren't changing.
Before.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Of course, according to the record. All right, we're going to quickly ball up before we get off the air with you guys. B-Jax, who was the player of the game for you?
Surprisingly, my player is Jeff Green.
What?
I know, and I've been the hardest person on Jeff Green I know.
It's true, he has.
His contract is a lot of money. He's still not rebounding, and I think he had 4 tonight. And Doc has specifically asked him. He said so. Doc said so to rebound with Sullinger being out. So we'll see. I saw more aggression on the rebounds. I think he tried to get his nose in there, but it's just not something that's natural to him. He even like let one. We joked about it. He let one go to Pierce.
It was in his hands, and he just didn't know what to do. It was bad.
It was funny, but I'm just happy that he's being aggressive towards the rim and punishing it.
It's true.
Ball up.
Oh, you want my
ball up?
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ball up with Paul Pierce. 14 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. We were all talking about this. By committee filling in for Rondo and Sullinger. Well, you lose your best passer, Pierce has 7 assists. You lose your best rebounder, Pierce has 11 boards. He's doing a little bit of everything. Paul Pierce is the kind of player that can kind of fill whatever role you need him to. If you need a point forward, he can do that. If you need a power forward that can get more boards, he can do that. If you need a scorer, he's obviously that. Pierce kind of just gave this game whenever it needed at all times. He was fantastic in every aspect of the game. Paul Pierce, there you go.
All right, I'll go back with Jeff Green. We're kind of bookending this thing.
Oh my God, what's happening?
It's from the thinnest beard to the thickest beard.
Let's hope it continues, Evans. All right.
I do hope for that.
Well, like we talked about in the last segment, the energy level that Jeff infuses into this team has been the difference for them, I think, in the last few games. Of course, it's bizarre considering he's probably the least emotional guy on the team. If you're watching the game on mute and you're just looking at his face, you think that he doesn't really do anything energy-wise for the team. And then you turn the sound on and it gets even worse because you've never heard him raise his voice before. He's a quiet guy, but he makes big plays when he can. And the difference, I think, has been that he couldn't really earlier in the year. We saw a little bit of a consistent stretch, then it kind of died off. Now everybody's talking about trying to gear it back towards putting him in situations where he can thrive, putting him in situations where he's getting the ball in motion, running a more fluid offense around, kind of like around the ball area, not so. Because I feel like with Rondo, things get a little bit stiff. It's a lot of just kind of straight picks, cutting one way. While with these guys, I think they're going to have a little bit more flow going on, play a little bit more in transition, try to do a lot of early offense. I know Doc has talked about posting up Kevin really early. They're going to do a lot of early offense, a lot of kind of flowing motion type offense, and it's working for them right now.
Well, definitely, because with Rondo, it was he's going to hold the ball and you're going to get open.
Yeah.
In this, I'm going to hold the ball, and if someone can't get open, I'm going to pass the ball to someone else, and then
they're going to
do
pass
some
the ball
off-ball
again.
motion. Yeah. Exactly. So I think you're absolutely right. I think we're going to see a lot more motion, and I think it's going to be more entertaining basketball. Whether they win or lose, I think it's going to be really entertaining.
And we're going to bring you more entertaining programming on Sunday. We're going to wrap this show up right now. They're tearing up the Garden for the ice, even though I thought the Bruins weren't playing here tomorrow.
Practice or something, I don't know.
Who the hell knows? But we're out of here. We're back on Sunday for the Clippers game.
Loud City.
For Brendan Jackson, for Evans Clinchy, my name is Jared Weiss. This is the Garden Report on Celticsblog and CLNS Radio.